Today we are going to figure out how iPhone 7 charging circuit works. Charging IC of iPhone 7 is an independent one, which, in cooperation with PMU and USB controller, completes the charging task. First, let's take a look at the main components on the charging circuit. U2101 charging IC. It is responsible for voltage converting of the charging voltage and checking of the battery percentage. It also controls the whole charging process based on the instruction from CPU. U4001 USB IC. It is responsible for over-voltage checking of the charging voltage. U0700 CPU. It is responsible for overall control of the charging process. Q2101 charging MOSFET. It is responsible for current distributing. J2201 battery connector. It makes possible the connection between battery and logic board. J4101 dock connector. It makes possible the connection between charging cable and the logic board. Now let's find out how iPhone 7 charging circuit really works. 1. Detection of the input voltage. With the phone being plugged in, the charging voltage will be outdated to U2101 and Q4001 via J4101. The charging voltage from Q4001 is then outputted to the USB IC for voltage detection. If the charging voltage detected is within a reasonable range, USB IC will send the charging enable signal to U2101 so as to get U2101 prepared for work. 2. Charge the battery. With the enable signal received, the input voltage of USB will be detected by detecting pins. CPU will then be informed of the USB charging task to be performed. Meantime, U2101 will send a charge interrupt signal to PMU, so that PMU will be informed of the charging task waiting to be performed. PMU will then send a system active signal to U2101. U2101 forms a buck circuit with M2800 and C2114, which converts the 5 volts USB voltage into main power supply voltage. A part of the main power supply voltage goes back to U2101 and then generates battery charging voltage. The battery charging voltage is then transmitted to battery and get the battery charged. The rest of main power supply voltage is transmitted to Q2101. Breakover of Q2101 will be completed with the help of U2101. Q2101 will then transmit the main power supply voltage to the battery connector so as to get the battery charged. 3. Feasibility verification of the charging task. CPU controls U2101 via I2C bus first, so that U2101 will transmit info like battery percentage, battery data, and charging voltage to CPU for verification via SWI bus. Once battery info and charging voltage are verified as proper, CPU will inform U2101 of the result, so that the charging task will be performed later. Based on current voltage, percentage, and temperature of the battery, U2101 will output proper charge, voltage, and current to the battery, so that battery charging can be completed safely and smoothly. Now let's move to diagnose and maintenance of the one charging issue. First, replace dock flex and battery. Next, run cosmetic inspection of the logic board and check whether the charging relevant area is normal. Confirm whether the issue is caused by external causes. 1. Battery percentage drops with the lightning bolt appearing on the screen. Measure whether there is 0 volt to 3.7 volts voltage jump on J2201. 1. If there is 0 volts to 3.7 volts voltage jumps on J2201, run diode measurement of pin 2 on J2201. If the measured value is normal, we need to replace J2201. If not, we can get pin 2 and pin 3 of Q2102 shorted. If the problem still remains unresolved, we need to replace the charging IC U2101. 2. If there is no 0 volt to 3.7 volts voltage jump on J2201, we can rebore or replace components listed below one by one and see how the voltage jump performs. First, the USB IC, then the charging IC, next the PMU, last CPU, which can only be rebored. 2. No lightning bolt on the screen with the charging cable connected. Run die-mode measurement of pin 4, pin 11, and pin 34 on J4101. If the measured value of one specific pin is abnormal, we need to check relevant circuit of the pin. If the measured value is normal, we need to measure whether there is 5 volts voltage on C4006. If not, we can get pin 2 and pin 3 of Q4001 shorted, and then check whether it works out. If not, we can replace the USB IC. If the problem still remains unresolved, we can reboard the CPU. If there is 5 volts voltage measured on C4006, we can replace the USB IC and see how it works. If the problem still remains unresolved, we can reboard the CPU. Common fault components of the charging circuit. Malfunction of USB IC U4001 will result in issues like won't charging or keep restarting of the phone. Malfunction of J2201 will result in issues like won't turn on, won't charge of the phone. Malfunction of the PMU will result in issues like abnormal charge, won't charge, stuck in Apple logo of the phone. Malfunction of M2800 will result in won't charge issue of the phone. Malfunction of U2101 will result in issues like won't charge, abnormal charge of the phone. Damage of Q4001 will result in no lightning bolt with the phone being plugged in. And this is our detailed explanation of how iPhone 7 charging circuit works. Feel free to visit our official website www.rivatechknowledge.com. See you next course.